Toastmasters, I invite you today to read the very first page of the Crimean history. The very first page written in ancient Greek. And to read it together, we would need to go not only 7,000 miles to the east, but also 2,500 years back in time. And thanks to relativity, we can do it just like that. To give you some context of when exactly we are going to, I can tell you that Trojan Wars ended about 800 years prior to this. But the ancient Rome was still young, 200 years or so of age. This is a time when Greeks were colonizing the planet, the way they knew it. Cicero described this period as Greeks sitting around the Mediterranean Sea as frogs are sitting around the pond. This was true for Mediterranean Sea, but even more true for the Black Sea. All this red color shows you where Greeks built their colonies, all around the Black Sea shores. This part, though, is the Crimea. You see this peninsula on the top in the northern part of the Black Sea? This part, though, deserved much more poetic name as just frogs. It was called a pearl necklace of the Black Sea. And the bestmost pearl of this necklace was Chersonesus, a Greek colony created in the 5th century BC, which I'm going to tell you today about. But before we go there, I want to talk to you a little bit about Greek. Greeks were going everywhere around Mediterranean and Black Sea, and they had to separate themselves from the people who were living there. And they did it in a very simple way. They said, we are Greek, and all others are barbarian. How easy it is. No question where are you from. We are Greek, you are barbarian. And there were a lot of barbarians. When they came to the Crimea, they met the tribes, which were called Scythians. And I'm sure this illustration looked to you the same way they look to me. To me, they remind a little bit about Game of Thrones. Right? They don't look real. And the reason for it is that we don't know much truth about Scythians, but we know a lot of legends. One of the legends tells us that Scythians used to send some symbols to their enemies. A frog, a mouse, a bird, and 5 arrows. They didn't know how to write, but what they wanted to communicate sounded like this. If you don't fly like a bird, if you don't hide like a mouse, and if you don't jump into the lake like a frog, we will kill you with these 5 arrows. And they would. But we do know that they existed because they left us a treasure. They would create these burial mounds to bury their kings, their horse lords, the best archers, and buried with them was Scythian gold. If you follow this Crimean story in the news, you probably know that all the Scythian gold is now in Netherlands. And both Russia and Ukraine are fighting in courts, figuring out who it belongs to. And this is Chersonesus. When my sister and I were kids, this was our playground. Who wouldn't want to play there? It was so wonderful. It had towers. Of course, there was a theater and the mint yard. Unfortunately, we are not lucky enough to find any coins there, even though some legend exists that treasures have been buried there thousands of years ago. But what we would found were these little shards of pottery, the very first belts Paper was very expensive and seldom, very rare to find at that time. But broken pottery, it was everywhere. And not only they were used to vote during the election, they would use these pieces of pottery, which were called ostraca, to expel people out of the city. Not criminals, but those who would potentially create a threat to the city. How smart. This is what Kersonesus looked like 2,000 years ago. And this is the main artifact, the most important, probably most famous one, found in the Kersonesus. This is a citizen oath. Actually, Kersonesus people were citizens, even though their city was their state, and their state was their cities. That's why they were called citizens. What they claim in their oath is that they would never give their city to neither Greek nor barbarian. Just think about it. This is probably the most striking thing and most memorable for me. The whole population of the planet was either Greek or barbarian, except the people who lived in Kersonesus. They separated themselves from the outer world. And as I reflect on the past, I'm thinking about the present. Would it be something to do for the Crimea? To separate themselves from the struggle between these mighty neighbors of it? I don't know if it would work for Crimea or not. It didn't work for Kersonesus. It did exist for 2,000 years, but unfortunately, he did need to look for alliances with either Greeks or barbarians to fight against each other. We will see what happens now. Mr. Tusen.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Tatiana, for that wonderful speech. Personally, I like history better than relativity theory. So it was a very interesting speech for me. The purpose of this project, this speech, is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply it for another speech. So I will give you my feedback. It will be better ones, the good ones, and the broken ones. So the better ones are, first you had a very good start by showing the globe, the picture, the globe and the history chart. I think it was very attractive because I instantly feel that I was traveling to the history. So that was very good for me. And your invitation for making further reading about Crimean history was very good. And you explained the whole history in a smooth way. It was very good. You started with the general picture, and then you focused step by step to the Crimea, and you explained everything in exact detail, in excellent detail, and very well. And the good ones are, the map was great, it was detailed, but you could add some writings on it to show where the cities or the Scythians are located, for example. You could do that. The visuals, the pictures about the history, the ancient buildings, ancient structures were very good. You used the space here very well. You did not block the visual, and you keep eye contact with your audience. That was great. The flow is very nice. You did not hesitate to explain anything. It just went smoothly. The work-ons can be, you could explain fewer details because the number of Latin and Greek words were a lot, so it was very difficult for myself to follow those Greek or Latin words, and it was easy to forget those names because there are a lot of words like Scythians, Charsanesis, Carthenians, that kind of words. Maybe you could lower the numbers. That's all for my. You had a very good, excellent speech overall, and thanks for that.